I like your colors today. I mean, you're the blue girl and everything, but like, I like it. You're working. It's working for you today. Yeah, I know. I saw it. It's nice. Very nice. Just have fun. I know. I really try to just, I was thinking about it. And singing about it. I was thinking about that with the different phrases here. Literally take a breath. Yeah, you don't you can hold it out longer than
Please be seated now. Our service is about to begin. Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the South Jersey Shore, a welcoming and inclusive faith community. We kindly ask that you turn off your cell phones. Our service is open to all, visitors, friends, members. Whether you are single, partnered, or of a family of any type, we welcome you. Whether you are here in the sanctuary with us, watching online, or on demand, may our time together be one of learning and celebration. My name is Mike Canisian. I am your worship associate for today. I am a member of this congregation. I serve on the Gifts and Endowment Fund Committee, and most importantly, with Nancy Watson on the road cleanup crew. Our worship service today is led by Reverend Charlie Dieterich. After a first career as a TV system designer, Charlie changed directions, attended the King School for the Ministry in Berkeley, California, and then interned for 2 years in, it says New Orleans, but I always hear it as New Orleans. He was ordained by UUC-SJS on September 30, 2012, serving the congregation for 3 years. He then moved to Norfolk, Virginia, and Erie, Pennsylvania, then retired home to Kingston in central New Jersey. Although no longer a parish minister, Charlie remains active in the UU Trauma Response Ministry, uutrm.org. Video of today's service will be available on our YouTube channel later today. If you care to tweet during today's service, you can use the hashtag UUCSJS. To those gathered live on Facebook, we welcome your comments as well as your joys and sorrows on that platform. Please remember that this video will be on the internet, so do not share information best kept private. Welcome to worship.
'Tis the gift to be simple, 'tis the gift to be free, 'tis the gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we will not be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we will not be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come around right.
I'm always amazed at how wonderful Katie's voice is. I don't know why I'm amazed anymore. All the time. Our opening words today are from Universalist Minister Ken Patton, observing how congregants lead their various lives to assemble on Sunday mornings. We recognize that in the 1950s, gender-inclusive language was not available, though today we would translate brothers and sisters to include all of the community. He wrote, "We arrive out of many singular rooms, walking over the branching streets.
We come to be assured that brothers and sisters surround us, to restore their images to our eyes.
We enlarge our voices in common speaking and singing.
We try again that solitude found in the midst of those who with us seek their hidden reckonings.
Our eyes reclaim the remembered faces. The voices stir the surrounding air.
The warmth of their hands assures us, and the gladness of our spoken names.
This is the reason of cities, of homes, of assemblies, in the houses of worship.
It is good to be with one another."
Today our child slayer is Nancy Watson. Please join me in reading the chalice lighting words in your order of service. Let us open our eyes to see what is beautiful. Let us open our minds to learn what is true. Let us open our hearts to love one another. Please rise in body or spirit and sing our gathering hymn, number 361. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Enter, rejoice, and come in.
dancing. Excellent. Wonderful. I love the new sound system. So, today's service is about dancing. And dancing is magic. Did you guys look at the cover? The picture isn't too beautiful, but if you look at it, it's a picture of two dancers. And if you look at it, you might make some assumptions. You might say, oh, they're doing some traditional dance. That must be some old thing. But it might be a dance that they just made up today. It might be brand new, and the outfits look like it might be something traditional, but it might be something that they've designed for themselves. So, the words on the cover say, let it be a dance. And what they're doing is a form of dance. Now, there's a song called Let It Be a Dance, and I brought with me today a picture over there. You can see a piece of art that is the words to the hymn in our hymnal, Let It Be a Dance, and we're singing as our closing hymn. Some people think that dancing is only for the stars, for the strong and the agile. But I don't believe that at all. The composer of Let It Be a Dance even wrote his song for a young girl who had been studying ballet. And she'd been in a terrible traffic accident. The girl, and we'll call her Rhea, was visited in the hospital by Rick Maston, who was the writer of the song. The doctors had said that Rhea was never going to dance again, and they were probably thinking about her as a professional ballet dancer. And even when her legs healed. But Rick promised that in 1 year's time, he would have her back dancing. And Rick was going to write a song that she could dance to. Write a song for them to sing as they danced together. Some dancers, like the cover on the order of service, seem like they could do gymnastics. But other dancers dance by holding on to each other, where every turn is a delight. Some folks dance with their wheelchairs. Some dance with their eyes. 1 year later, Rhea still had to use crutches to walk, but she had learned how to use them to dance. And she and Rick danced together as he sang the song, Let It Be a Dance. Whoever you are, no matter how athletic, dance invites you in, welcomes you into the circle of life. Even the simple act of assembly as a congregation can be a dance if you want it to be.
I'm told we had no children present today, so we're going to skip the children's recessional and go straight to joys and concerns. book is provided in the foyer in which you are invited to write whatever joys and sorrows you have as you enter. I will now read what you would share with us, with this community. We went skiing this weekend with our daughter Julia and our grandson Weston, which is certainly a joy. We are sorry, however, that we are not there to greet Charlie. We miss him, and he is certainly part of our history. We will listen on YouTube and hope Charlie considers coming back again soon. Paul us. Grateful for a new year, good health, and for our family and for the UU family. Miriam, I can't read your last name. With a last name like mine, I understand. We welcome Kathleen Harnett today. She is a longtime member who is returning from a long absence. That's the last that's written, but it's not the last. Many of you see me and Nancy Watson together. What you don't know, or may not know, is that in May of 2009 we were married, but in December of 2015 we were divorced. Last Tuesday, we remarried. Let us share a quiet time to reflect upon our week. During the musical interlude, you may come forward and place a pebble in the water to acknowledge a personal joy or sorrow.
So our pastoral prayer today is one of joy, because it is a joy to be here. I am so glad that Paul Less's note did not end the same way that the Rick Maston story ended. Every time somebody goes skiing, I always have this level of anticipation that apparently it's a wonderful weekend that they are enjoying. And it is good to gather together. May we, in this sacred space, take a moment to connect to the good times and the bad times too. Connect to places of love and places where we have worked through what didn't feel like love initially, to find the love that was hiding underneath, to find the joy that was present the moment we came through the door. Even if it didn't sound like that, even if the bread that was baking got burned, even if something else happened and somebody didn't show up, finding the joy underneath it all. So that's my prayer for this morning, is for us to have eyes behind our eyes, that we may see the joy, that we may see the love behind every action. The words of Universalist Minister Ken Patton were especially important because Universalism has the basic tenet that God is love. And so we pray to love, that our days will be filled with the holy. Amen.
This is a story about a loaf of bread. Our story begins with Joe and Ken coming into their new apartment. Ken says,
Wow, I love our new apartment. It will be wonderful living here together.
Joe says,
Yes, Ken, it will be. I'm going to put away some groceries.
and Joe took a loaf of bread out of his bag, opened it, removed 2 slices, and threw them in the trash. Then he closed the bag and put the loaf in the bread box.
What did you just do?
I just put away the bread.
But you threw away 2 perfectly good pieces of bread.
I assumed you didn't want a sandwich since we'd just eaten.
But you threw the bread away.
Of course I did. That's how you put away a loaf of bread. Didn't you know that?
Nobody does that.
That's the way my mother taught me. It's the right way. I'll prove it. Let's call her.
And so they did.
Hello, Mom?
Hello, Joe. How do you and Ken like the new place?
It's good, Mom. Mom, Ken doesn't know how to put away bread.
He doesn't know about throwing away 2 slices?
No.
Hi, Mom. Why do you throw away 2 slices?
That's what my mother taught me to do. Do you want to ask her yourself?
Sure, conference her in.
And Mom dialed the phone. Sylvia, is that you?
Yes, Mother. I'm talking with Ken and Joe.
Hello, Ken. You were such a good boy.
Thank you, Grandma.
Will you be coming to visit?
No, Mother. The fellows have a question. It's about bread and how we put it away.
What do you mean?
Well, when we were growing up, you would always open the bread and throw 2 slices away if nobody wanted a sandwich. Isn't that the right way to do it?
You remember that tiny kitchen we had? I didn't have space in the bread box for a full-size loaf of bread. So I always threw away a couple of slices to make it fit.
It wasn't to keep the bread fresher?
Where did you get that idea?
Or to show that we were helping the starving children in Africa?
No, it just didn't fit.
It sounds like your family has a lot of assumptions that nobody talked about.
Thank you, Grandma, and thank you, Mom.
Bye, boys.
Goodbye, Joe. Goodbye, Ken. Visit Grandma sometimes.
It's now Act 2. They all assemble at a dinner party a few weeks later.
What was all that about the bread box? That was odd.
That was a strange phone conversation.
After you 2 called, I tried to remember why I thought throwing away 2 slices made the bread loaf stay fresh. I remembered back when I was very young, your grandmother put away bread in the bread box, throwing away the 2 slices. I asked why, and Mother, you said it keeps better that way. I made up a story about how throwing bread away, the first 2 slices of bread, kept the rest of it fresh. But of course, it was the bread box that kept it fresh. I never questioned my logic until our phone conversation.
And I thought throwing away the 2 slices helped the starving children in Africa because you would take me shopping after church. And the minister said, we have so much bread, and the starving Africans have none. So I figured taking out 2 slices was for them.
That makes no sense at all.
It does if you're a little kid.
All because I had a tiny bread box.
So you each made up secret rules based on something you misunderstood. I wonder if there's anything I still do based on my childhood assumptions.
The end.
Every week, we take up an offering during our service. It's good to remind ourselves from time to time that the offering is symbolic as well as practical. We know that it is through pledges that we build our budget and fund our yearly program and ministries of worship and religious education, pay our staff and professional religious leaders, and finance the comfort and beauty of our building. If this is your first time visiting us, feel free to let the basket pass. Your presence is gift enough. For those who are participating online, please visit uucsjs.org and click on the yellow Donate button. Our offering says that the act of giving is as essential to our spiritual well-being as anything else we do here on Sunday morning. The morning offering will now be given and received in the spirit of grateful fellowship.
Maybe I just have more pieces of paper to wander around with. Let's see, how about that pile? That's good. Maybe I'm using larger type. I think that's what happens. The typeface gets larger. So I want to begin my message today with 2 words. Thank you. Thank you for having me here today. A retired minister who does occasional preaching gigs. Thank you for the music. Thank you for playing along. And thank you for the good weather, too. I was very worried that it was going to be snow coming down here from central New Jersey. But thank you for all those things. And I thank you for hiring me back in 2011 to be your part-time minister, and the many adventures we shared over those 3 years. As I was getting ready to leave my ministry here in South Jersey, you gave me many gifts, including a book called Rev Charlie's First Dance, filled with photos of things that we did together, letters from members in the congregation, and even an order of service or 2. I still look at it from time to time, because, yes, it was a dance we did. And I very much hoped, when I went off in search of new horizons, that you would be continuing your dance of learning and growing. Of course, some of you here today joined the community in the years after I left. As Heraclitus of Ephesus once observed, you can never step into the same river twice. The water moves on, the river itself is made new. Everything moves. The rule in ministry is that departing ministers disengage from the congregation when they depart. That gives the incoming minister the whole role of being the minister. And this also allows the departing minister to look forward, not back. The downside of the rule is that you must assume that I am still full of gratitude. So I'll say it one more time. Thank you. I came to Pomona after 2 years in New Orleans. The first year was as a student minister, helping 3 small congregations as they recovered from the flooding damage following Hurricane Katrina. 2 churches were in the city itself. The older one was in a stone building, which had flooded. The first floor had to be completely gutted and rebuilt. And in the second floor, teams of UU and other volunteers camped out in the religious education wing, spending their days rebuilding the city for the people of New Orleans. The second church had been damaged so badly that all that was left when I arrived was a vacant lot. The congregation met in a nearby house with only a fraction of the members remaining. The third one was outside the city. Storm damage had been repaired, but membership damage, the loss of jobs, and folks moving away was a problem in all 3 congregations, and the trauma reactions took a long time to heal. My second year in New Orleans, I followed the rule and disengaged from the 3 local congregations. My work was to be a chaplain at the nearby General Hospital, where I sat in neonatal wards watching babies learn to breathe, where families lay gentle hands on ill loved ones, and where I heard confessions of those facing life's crises. I also spent some Sundays up the river at the large UU church in Baton Rouge, and I preached in a small Universalist church in Mississippi. So by the time I arrived in South Jersey, I'd been involved with congregations from Massachusetts to California to the Deep South. But my time with you was my first time being a pastor. And because I was not ordained, I was Pastor Charlie, an honorific that is much more common in Mississippi and Louisiana than it is in New Jersey. I remember that one of you carefully traded out my name tag to say Reverend Charlie the day I was ordained. Something that people could more easily understand. One of the speakers at my ordination advised me to find my ministry, something that I would specialize in. And it didn't look very hard. Instead, it found me. My first career had been as an electrical engineer, working 9 to 5, sometimes 9 to 9, sometimes 9 to midnight. But I spent the rest of my time building community in social organizations in my home village. And I was also a volunteer firefighter. Firefighters are those people who go into burning buildings when everyone else is coming out. There's a song about the attack on New York's World Trade Center that made that observation in the chorus, something like, the people came out and the firefighters came in. In 2012, this congregation had an unwelcome visitor in the form of Superstorm Sandy. Remember that? I'd ask you to raise hands, but that would just be exercise. The remains of yet another hurricane come up the coast. Following the recovery, the Unitarian Universalist Trauma Response Ministry, which is a small independent organization that helps congregations recover from disasters, held a free training at Murray Grove. Remembering my history as a firefighter, a chaplain, and a minister, I signed up for the training on trauma first aid. After a few other training courses, I joined the Trauma Response Ministry team of volunteers. The focus of my ministry became congregations recovering from trauma. Even in retirement, I'm visiting congregations after fires, after sudden deaths, after crimes. Now, I'm not the best liturgist or the wisest biblical scholar, but I am acquainted with the night. And so I will willingly volunteer to rush in where others might pass the situation by. Although other ministers have served longer than I have in different churches, the wide variation of congregations that I have worked with helps me understand how congregations work. There's a whole area of study called family systems or congregational dynamics, which you had to learn about in seminary. What is it that keeps a congregation going? What is it that keeps them one particular size? What keeps them in unconscious cycles of conflict and effectiveness? Even with my experience, I'm far from an expert. But after a while, I'm able to see patterns of behavior that are passed on from generation to generation to generation. The story of the loaf of bread, the family that always threw away 2 slices of bread, though they never examined why they did it, is adapted from a system's parable. What things does a particular congregation dance around? And as a minister, how could I encourage curious inquiry about unspoken assumptions? Being a parish minister is an odd, unique job. The Greek philosopher Heraclitus believed that the world was made of opposites, and so is ministry. You're an employee of the congregation, and you're a leader of the congregation. You are with them, but not of them. However long you're present, you're temporary. A minister can hear confidences, but can't share them. A minister can encourage projects, but the project must be owned by the members of the congregation, not the minister. And as I was reminded at my ordination here, I am friends with all the members of the congregation, but my friends must be independent of the congregation. With each new congregation I serve, I learn better how to live into these ministerial paradoxes. It's a dance that ministers do, through the good times and the bad times too. Now that I'm retired from parish ministry, my life is a little bit simpler. I can spend my time being part of the local historical society, a member of the Ham Radio Club. I can take yoga classes with a group of retirees and be one of them. I can go on dates by myself, not as a gay minister going on a date. Rick Baskin's story about writing a song for a ballet dancer with broken legs sometimes makes me cry. There's a story of Buddhist monks who, with a single act, obtained enlightenment. Singer-songwriter Rick Maston wrote songs that inspire Unitarian Universalist values. In 1972, he was, well, the Unitarian equivalent of enlightenment. He was ordained and awarded a lectureship to take the spirit of liberal religion to college campuses and churches around the country. And he had to use that lectureship to spend his time traveling around in a Toyota van. I know that we hosted Peter Mayer, another minister who got a song into the hymnal. Both artists remind me how breaking out of a traditional mold of how church works can do remarkable things. You know, people come to a concert. A message must be heard to actually be a message. You know, the letter that invited me to be your minister could easily have included the lines from Let Us Give You a Dance. Can we have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too? I've lived half my life in central New Jersey. And when I got here, I saw the way that southern New Jersey had only one Unitarian Universalist congregation. After being in the very gay-friendly city of New Orleans, I was disappointed to see that LGBTQ folks seemed sort of confined to Atlantic City. And the rest of the area didn't seem all that gay-friendly. And I was even more amazed at the subtle racism that I experienced outside the city. There was so much work to do. How was it that we could help? How could this congregation be a beacon in southern New Jersey? How could it be a place of restoration? How could we, as a congregation, refuel, re-encourage, find the love in each other? How could we nourish each other for our faithful work of Unitarian Universalism? Could we dance together into a brighter future? There's one memory that I remember especially. In October 2013, the first weekend that New Jersey removed marriage gender restrictions, we formed a team. Any of you remember that? We formed a team to provide civil union conversions, weddings for those who had previously pledged civil unions and now wanted to have a church wedding.
We have. Yeah.
Did they know that? And the full privileges of marriage. I expected a long line of folks out there with all their friends coming into the sanctuary with glitter and dancing flower girls. But the ceremonies really ended up being a little bit small. As if some of them were afraid to make noise. Maybe they weren't out at work, though now they were going to be married. Maybe their neighbors, they didn't want to have them know that those two men were gay. As if that was a possibility. Anyway, nobody even brought a boombox so the couple could have their first dance right here. It was like, man, this could be much better. But I didn't recognize just how much fear there was. I knew that this congregation was going to be supportive of this because one of the congregation's foundational stories was speaking out about gay rights. We stood up, we showed up. And I know that you have continued to stand up and show up in the years after I left. This is a group that when it puts its heart into something, things happen. And so I'm here today to say blessings on your journey. Now the song that we're going to sing for our closing hymn is an anthem to love. It's a call to visibility, to neutrality and planning. It's a reflection and adult conversation with a willingness to change. It's about community. And finally, about honesty as we engage life with the hard work of community. And there's one important thing in the last verse. The hymn ends with a verse that says, "Let the sun shine, let it rain. Share the laughter, bear the pain." I learned that Rick Maston was disappointed when he saw his song put in the hymnal. Because it's number 311, by the way. Because they changed the word bear. In the phrase, bear the pain, it was B-A-R-E, as in, do not hide the pain, but let your tears be seen. Let them know that you're suffering. It was translated to B-E-A-R, bear the pain, as if Unitarians endured bad times in some sort of stoic silence. The way Rick wrote it was B-A-R-E, the pain. And that's the way I sing it, though it's hard to tell the difference. Round and round and go again. Ministers come and go, but Unitarian Universalist Congregation of South Jersey Shore is a living, breathing institution. I thank you all for your work, for your friendship, and for your days. Thank you. You're invited to rise in body or spirit, or simply listen as we sing our final hymn, 311, Let It Be Danced. This is a long hymn, I'm warning you now. It has a page flip in it, so don't think that you can do it all on one thing. Because two people have one on the first page, one on the second page, and you just flip between them. It's all great. Number 311, Let It Be a Dance.
Child is born. there is no light. If nothing's wrong and nothing's right, let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. Let the sunshine, let it rain, share the laughter, bear the pain, and let it go again. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you. Through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance.
Stay standing for a moment for our closing words. I think we're there. Are we there? Closing words?
Yes.
That's great. So this is usually was a pre-COVID thing. This was a pre-COVID thing. So we're going to have to do it sort of with air hands, not with jazz hands, air hands. But these are words of Eric Walker Richmond. And so reach out, but don't touch the person next to you. And what's great is if you're online, you can pretend that you're touching the next person online. And I'm going to say a line, and then you're going to say it in our order of service. I put my hand in yours. I put my hand in yours. So that together we might do. So that together we might do. What we cannot do alone. What we cannot do alone. Thank you.
Let us read the words together before extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Please wrap up. This is the postlude, but guess what? We're going to put it out there. If anyone wants to sing, please join in. This is River Flowing in My Soul. The words are there, and if you feel like getting up and swaying, by all means do so. I'm going to invite the choir to come back up too. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my heart, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my life. There's a river flowing in my mind, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my mind. So there's a river flowing in my soul.
as the entire choirs and especially our musical director and her partner. There are a few announcements this week. The soup sale will be returning Sunday, January 29th. It has been a while since we have had this fundraising event, and the proceeds will benefit our own UUC SJS. We need you to make your delicious homemade soup. Use the containers provided by the front entrance. Fill and return them by January 29th for the sale that day. Soup can be frozen. If making soup is not for you, you are welcome. We welcome bread and other baked goods to add to the sale. We will hold an important workshop for all worship associates and people who are considering becoming a worship associate on Sunday, February 19, after the service. Worship associates who have served for years, as well as newer ones, should attend. For anyone who wants to see what is involved, please also attend. This will not be a lengthy meeting. Join us next Sunday for UUC SJS member Tracy Catino on Living the 12 Steps. Growing up, Tracy was surrounded by alcoholics and other kinds of addicts. She spent over 25 years in Al-Anon, recovering from the effects of addiction in her family members. Tracy will share her experience, strength, and hope through the lens of the 12 steps of recovery. We warmly welcome all of you who are visiting us today. Now, let us share a silent reflection to consider today's message and the meaning it has in our lives and